Hey everybody, this is Perch. Certainly lots of people have things to complain about with comics, where things are going wrong, or where new titles aren't being produced in a certain way, or creators who, we loved who aren't given the opportunity to do comics again. Uh, One of the biggest frustrations I would say I would have. This is definitely, by the way, not going to be any kind of outrage video or real anger video, but it is a problem in comics, and I think it's a solvable problem is that there are comment and but maybe this is a very the best way to describe this is a very frustrating problem, and it's simply this: there are a lot of comics out there that are made that are good, that are ones I would like to read and read over and over again, and in many cases it's extremely hard to actually get your hands on those. Either it is because the original floppies are now just very expensive or hard to find. They're not reprinted in trades or omnibuses, or if they are, those are also out of print and in no particular order, or just difficult to get your hands on. And then the digital distribution of them, the ability to have an app and kind of read it that way, is scattered, difficult. Like people, it almost feels like somebody went to a lot of trouble to make it as difficult as possible to find these comics and read them. And I just went to this Washington State SummerCon conference down in Puyallup, and it was a very fun, enjoyable conference, or Comic Con, comic conference, as people, cosplayers and retailers and some creators were there. And it was nice because, thanks to COVID, it was sparsely attended. There was distancing, everything else. Like, I went the entire con, and as I was walking out of it, I'm commenting to my wife, it's like, it didn't smell. Like, there is no weird toxic BO smell in that entire conference. It's amazing. Um, it's the little things, right? But what was funny was standing to talk to Claremont, and then being able to. I mean, I was able to stand and chat to Claremont for like 45 minutes, and as people were kind of coming up and going, and there was some kind of good conversation at the table, one of the big recurring themes was people saying, I'm just getting into your work. I'm just trying to get into reading your run. And expressing how difficult it was to do that. Like, they were trying to get their hands on back issues. They were trying to find trades. Trades were out of print. Omnibuses were very expensive or hard to get a hold of. Digital was there, but people were confused or didn't have a good reader or everything else. And it was it's people struggling to get to Claremont's work. And then I went over and I talked to Jim Starlin for a while, and he was same kind of comments coming up to this table. Like, I can't. It was weird to me, and I'm part of this is because as a retailer, as somebody who's plugged in, doing videos, all the rest, I have lots of I know where to get these comics. So it's not a problem for me, but it was eye opening, and it was important to listen, particularly for retailers, but even more so for publishers. And this is where I wonder: are publishers listening to customers? The answer is no, where this is concerned. Or are they even listening to creators? Because both Claremont and Jerry Conway was there. He had the same kind of comments, and Jim Starlin had, and Peter David was there. And all four of them consistently said, yeah, we hear that a lot. We know it's very hard to get your hands on a lot of our work. We know you're having a hard time getting hold of it. And I think in Peter David's case, Peter David was funny because he was sitting watching Infinity War and Endgame on a little tablet, and he was, I mean, that's how he spent much of his time while he was waiting for people to come to his table. But you could go up and you could talk to Peter. I talked to Peter for a little while, but I felt like I was irritating him because he wanted to watch this movie. That was on me. He was very friendly, and he was not dismissive at all, and happy to chat, and had a quicker but nice conversation with him. But it's these creators are saying, yeah, we've said this to the publisher, like, you should really put this in print, you should really put this out in trade. And one of them was saying, I got the feeling, he's like, I get the feeling like the publisher thinks I'm just doing this to give myself some royalties, and then kind of chuckled like, well, I would like some more money. But it's easy money. It was shocking that during a fairly small amount of time, I don't know, I was hanging out there for about 4 hours, chatting with some of these creators. The amount of customers, I would say, I don't know, close to half of the customers coming up to the table, all expressed a desire to read more comics that already existed. So think about the complaints that you see on YouTube, on Twitter about comics that don't exist, where people want creators to write things. And certainly, I would absolutely get in line for more Chris Claremont work, and it sounds like we're going to get more Chris Claremont work out of Marvel in the X Office or big X Office before the end of the year. So that's great news. But all the people who are ready to buy material that already exists. That's the amazing part to me, is not, people standing there complaining. Because if you're on social media or you're online, you get the feeling from people that their biggest problem is they want new material. That the comic publishers are not creating new material. And I agree. I also would like new material. However, the classic low hanging fruit, low bar, easy to solve, like just put two and two together, like the easiest possible thing. In other words, you already own all the work and you will not lose money on doing it. You will operate this at a profit, is just to get the material that already exists reprinted and to print in some kind of normal, reasonable way. And in a lot of cases, the people, the customers there, in their heads, they are not looking for special editions. They're not looking for hardcovers. They're not looking for some kind of unique collector's item. They are looking for like Archie Digest level on newsprint, crap paper, reprinting these comics. And the companies have fooled around with this in the past, but it kind of makes you wonder if Marvel, for example, or DC just went back to X-Men #1 and stuffed 10 issues inside, a low res newsprint, tiny little digest format, and just shoved them out. And once a month, just put out another one in chronological order for as long as, God, with all the X-Men issues out there, you'd be doing this for 10 years, monthly. It would make money. It would be at a profit. But more importantly, it's not just that it would make money, it would make people happy. Customers would be thankful for that. And with all the conversation, all the comments, and all the complaints, and everything else that we hear on a daily basis, the news flash is you can do something to make people happy, to make your customer base engaged and thrilled and excited with work you already have, work that's already done. So why aren't you doing that? And the one comment back I got, because I asked a question after hearing this over and over, I won't say who, but said, the comment back was the publisher. I think the publisher thinks that would be too easy. Was a quote, and I think to myself, how? Like I can't even. It won't compute in my mind. It's like at the publisher level, you're in a business to be profitable. You're in a business to make money. That is what you're doing. It's not charity. It's even divorced from the creator type stuff, or where the creator may be there to do art, or maybe there to express themselves or tell a story that's pent up inside, even though they know it's not commercially viable. Lots of things. But at the publisher level, at the David Gabriel level, for example, at Marvel, you're there to make money. So this idea of my belief is that the publisher thinks it's too easy to just reprint this stuff. What in the world? Too easy? What's wrong with too easy? Too easy sounds great. Oh, it's too easy to be profitable? Why does anyone think that is a problem? Why would anyone in their right mind? Why I can't see? I'm doing it here, just recording this video. I don't understand why anyone would. I can't wrap my head around that statement. It would be too easy to make a profit. We don't want things that are too easy to make money. No. But it is. I'll bring it back a little bit. The interesting part here is kind of multifold. Uh, Certainly, there are a lot of things that people complain about on a daily basis. There's a lot of room for improvement. People have a lot of suggestions. One of the easiest and simplest and completely obvious that I think exists out there is simply people are wanting material that already exists and cannot get their hands on it. It's not that you're not sure where they want to spend their money. They're ready to spend money. There's no one to give their money to. They have their money in hand. They're holding it, and they want to give that money to you, and you do not have a product for them. And this isn't a product where you have to guess. This isn't a product where you have to outlay a bunch of cash in order to get it done. I mean, hell, you could utilize some of Amazon's printing on demand if you wanted to. You could. I mean, you do that with the problem that several of the people there. Because I did ask, like, well, doesn't digital solve this problem? Couldn't you just use like Marvel Unlimited or get it that way? And the answer is no, I don't have a tablet. Or, yes, I would rather have, but I like paper. That's another option. Or others like, yes, I'm happy to buy it digitally. I've got a tablet, but the material isn't all available. And in many cases, it's very hard to read. This guy was pulling open the Uncanny X-Men run on Comixology and showing me how impossible it was because there was problems with how it was named, and so it wasn't sorting properly, and just it's very hard to just read the comics that way. So here's people who even are willing to go to digital and they're not able to. To me, in the real world, in the Comic-Con world, in the shop, with customers that are not online and not angry about something there, the consistent message seems to be, I am just trying to read comics that already exist, but are impossible to find in any format, let alone a prestige, original format, just any format at all. And that is day one, if I was working for one of the publishers, what I would solve. Because I think a lot of those stories are classic. They're great. They're not just a bunch of collectors trying to get their hands on them. They're in many cases for us, us being, maybe it's you, but people who've been reading comics for a while, these were our entry comics. These are the comics that got us hooked on comics in general. And if they were available to more people, one would argue they would probably hook more people too. Anyway, what about you? Take a moment and kind of think about it. Think about the conversations you've had in a shop or at a con or anything else. This is what I ran into. Curious if you've had the same experience. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.